Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am super excited about today's video because we're going to talk about the pros versus the cons of living on Lake Michigan. Let me tell you what, it is beautiful. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. If this is your very first time to my channel, I go over everything that you need to know about living in the amazing state of Michigan and what it's like to relocate here. So you're gonna get everything you need to know about living anywhere in the state of Michigan, well, in West Michigan. So make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification so you get notified every time I put one of these videos out. And as much as I like making these videos, I love helping you relocate to Michigan way more. So do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can even send a pigeon care. Whatever you have to do, I have your back when it comes to making a move here in West Michigan. All right, without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. The pros versus the cons of living on this beautiful Lake Michigan. I have lived in Michigan my entire life. Lake Michigan is one of my favorite places to be because it is absolutely gorgeous. Fun fact, Lake Michigan actually has 1,300 miles of beachfront, nice white sandy beaches, where on the other side of the lake, they don't quite have that over there. They have a lot of rock. We have the really nice white sandy beaches here, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So the very first pro is the scenic views. The scenic views here in Michigan are absolutely stunning on Lake Michigan. Right now I've got some clients I'm helping buy a house on Lake Michigan, and I've seen some of the sunsets out here on Lake Michigan, and you can never ever get sick of seeing these sunsets and seeing the views out the back of your house. So that is by far one of the best things about living out here on Lake Michigan. The first con on the list is the fact that this is a very expensive view. So if you want to get on Lake Michigan, you better break out your pocketbook because the homes that are on Lake Michigan are very expensive. And you might think, you know, oh, I'm going to be able to buy $1 million house and get a really nice house on Lake Michigan. That's not always the case. You're paying for these $1 million views. So the house, even if it's around $900 to $1 million, you might still have to do maybe $500,000 worth of upgrades to that house to make it the way you want it, because so much of that house is very outdated and you're still having to spend $1 million to get on Lake Michigan. Now, obviously, if you want a house that is fully updated, I just got done walking through one that has been fully remodeled, fully updated, and that one has a price tag of $2 million. And that is on a smaller lot, so if the lot size gets bigger, you're gonna be spending well north of $2 million on Lake Michigan. So I guess that's up to you whether or not that's a con, because if you can afford it, then you get these amazing, crazy views out here. Pro on the list is all of the recreational opportunities out here on Lake Michigan. Obviously, I'm on the beach right now, so you can bring your kids to the beach whenever you want to. You've got charter fishing. You can get a boat out on here. Now, you're gonna want a bigger boat because you can see how big these white caps are right now. So if you got a little tiny 18-foot boat, you might have a little bit of a rough time out there on these waves. But the recreational activities on the water here in Michigan, regardless if you're on Lake Michigan, are phenomenal because Michigan actually has 11,000 inland lakes. And then obviously, you know that Michigan, the mitten, is surrounded by fresh water. So the next con on the list, with these beautiful views comes the maintenance factor of living on Lake Michigan. Now, Lake Michigan can be brutal. You can get some very high winds. A lot of the times it's actually windy. It's pretty bright. I want you guys to see my eyeballs, but it is pretty bright out here. You're gonna have a lot more maintenance tasks to do on your house because you're constantly getting hit with these brutal winds. Not all the time, it's not always this windy. You can deal with some erosion issues. If you've seen in the news, Michigan a couple years back had some pretty bad erosion issues because the lake was really high. So you're gonna have to deal with some of that stuff. You know, you're constantly getting hit with all the storms, so you're gonna have more exterior maintenance on the house, but that's all the stuff that comes with buying one of these amazing houses out here on Lake Michigan. Next pro on the list is the property values. So yes, you're gonna have some cons of having a lot of maintenance to do your home, but your property value here on Lake Michigan is going to hold the test of time, because where else are you going to get views like this besides going to the ocean? But this is fresh water, so you're not having to worry about sharks and everything else in this. And yes, it's called Lake Michigan, but realistically, you cannot see across this lake. It is way over there to get across the lake, and it is more like an ocean. So you're getting oceanfront views in a well-updated house for $2 to $3 million. You cannot do that on the ocean. You're gonna be well above $3 million to get on the ocean and get these kind of views, these kind of sunsets, and your property value is going to keep going up. So let's say you buy one of those $1 million houses that needs a bunch of work. After you get done doing all that work, your house is gonna be worth significantly more. And the best part about it is it's gonna hold that value. Even if other stuff drops, you can't get these properties. They don't put them up all the time. The lake isn't going anywhere. Your value is going to hold. Be rest assured about that. Next one on the list is, obviously, you're by a big lake. You're by a big body of water, and there's gonna be a lot of weather extremes out here. So you're gonna be the first to get the storms in Michigan, because typically the storms are coming across the lake, and you're gonna get the storms first as they come across the lake. You're gonna have some extreme winds during some of these storms. So the weather poses an issue because you could deal with erosion of the sand dunes. You know, one of the nice things about Lake Michigan is it's constantly refreshing the sand that is coming in here and constantly building these dunes up. So yes, you're gonna have some years where you could have erosion problems, and we did. You saw the erosion issues. Some of them were pretty bad. You saw some of the stuff on the news of houses falling into the lake. If you take care of your dune, do the proper stuff to the dune, it really helped. Now the cool thing is the lake levels are down, and now you see a lot of the sand being returned, the beaches are coming back, the dunes are rebuilding. It's an ecosystem. Lake Michigan is constantly refreshing itself, but you do have to worry about that. So if you're looking at some of these houses, let's make sure that we're paying attention to where those dunes are at, where your bluff is, how close is the bluff to the house, because I've seen some houses that are for sale and they're really close to their bluff. So if you're looking at some of those houses, be very wary of buying those just in case, because if we have another bad erosion, your house could end up in the lake. We don't want that. You don't want to pay $2 million for a house, have it end up in the lake. Just be aware of that. Not all of them are like that. And I've been to a lot that are pretty far back from the bluff, or the bluff is in really good shape. You've got really nice sandbags or retaining walls that have helped to prevent that erosion from continuing to break down that bluff. So just some things to be thinking about. Next pro on the list is privacy and tranquility out here on Lake Michigan. You're not in the inland cities. Most of these properties are actually pretty remote, and believe it or not, unless you have Wi-Fi calling, most of the time right now, I don't have any cell phone service out here on the beach. So it's a spot for you to go, like maybe you're looking for a summer lake house that you just wanna go, enjoy the amazing views, bring your friends and family out there to enjoy it with you, and just have peace. You hear the waves. Today it's pretty loud because obviously we've got some pretty big white caps because it's pretty windy out today. But there's a lot of times that the lake is nice and calm. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and you can literally never, ever get sick of these views. Fight me on that. Next con on the list is regulations on Lake Michigan. Depending on the area you live in, if you're trying to buy like a Lake Michigan house that you want to do a VRBO or Airbnb or rental, something of that nature, we've got to make sure we're checking with those particular townships to see if those are allowed at that house. The house that I just showed, it was allowed. My clients want to live there during the summer and also be able to VRBO that to help with, you know, the high payment of having a Lake Michigan house. So that is possible in a lot of these. I know quite a few people that have rentals out here on Lake Michigan. So don't worry, there is that available if that's what you're looking for. Let's just make sure that whatever you're wanting to do, that we're checking with the regulations to make sure that it's acceptable to do at that house. That does roll right into the next pro, potential rental income on these houses here on Lake Michigan. I know plenty of people that have rentals out here on Lake Michigan. They make some buku bucks, especially during the summertime, They're constantly booked out and they're not cheap to rent. You're getting these views, you're getting a beautiful house to come up and vacation in. So if you're looking for a really good rental that's lakefront and you don't want an ocean price tag, might look at getting one of these houses here on Lake Michigan, because the rental income can really help you offset it. And then obviously your family can use it too. What's not to love? Okay, so the last con on the list is accessibility. Some of these properties are pretty remote, especially the further north you go to like Manistee, and the further north along Lake Michigan you go to find one of these houses, you might not be close to your modern amenities. So you're gonna have to bring a lot of that stuff with you. You might not be close to airports. You might not be really close to a really good hospital, stuff of that nature. So if that stuff's really important to you, make sure that you're choosing an area like I'm in right now, West Olive, Grand Haven, Holland, New Buffalo, some of these areas that are closer to amenities so that you feel a little bit safer about that. If you're somebody that likes to live off grid and you don't really care, let's go up to Manistee and get one. Those areas, you're not gonna have a lot of that stuff, but you're gonna have even more peace and tranquility out there because there's not as many people around up there. All right, so there you have it, the pros and cons of living on Lake Michigan. What do you think? Did I miss anything? I think there's so many more pros versus the cons of living out here on this lake. It's absolutely stunning. Every single time I come out here, it never gets old. The sunsets. Let me tell you about the sunsets. They are unbelievable. You have not seen a sunset unless you live on the ocean or already live on Lake Michigan. They are something to die for, something that you have to see in your lifetime. So even if you don't buy a house out here, go to one of the VRBOs, rent one of these beautiful places and see what I'm talking about for yourself. Okay, if you're looking to make a move here to West Michigan or you want to buy one of these lake houses, do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can call me, you can email me, you can text me, you can even send a pigeon carrier. Whatever you have to do, I have your back when it comes to making a move here in West Michigan or on Lake Michigan. We'll see you on the next video.